What's up, everyone? Fight Zone MMA. Today we got some crazy MMA news. Let's get right into it. First off, we got Brandon Moreno saying he would never fight at the White House. In a recent press conference, Brandon Moreno was asked by a formerly Mexican reporter if he would campaign to be on the UFC White House card after a potential win in his upcoming fight. Moreno then responded, "Brother, I want you to tell me why I would want to be there. For what? I'm not interested." This is crazy. This is the angriest Brandon Moreno that I've ever seen. Moreno, while slightly on the decline after the trilogy with Davis and Figueiredo, is still a major player in today's UFC flyweight division. For him to turn down the highest profile fight of his career says a lot about how he views this event, likely with a disdain due to the current administration's actions towards Mexicans, and he's not the only one. Sean Strickland recently also said he wasn't interested in fighting in front of the Epstein list at the White House, and things are starting to look bad for the UFC. With stars turning down spots for this card, it's looking like just a matter of time before the UFC White House main event is Derek Lewis versus Tai Tuivasa 2. Next up, we got Ilia Topuria reunited with his daughter, and it's easy to get mixed feelings about this one. On one hand, it's great to see Ilia with his daughter after his ex-wife allegedly faked domestic violence accusations in order to get her out of his custody. On the other hand, just look at this picture. Instead of reading her a book or taking her to the playground, Ilia Topuria has opted to show his daughter TikTok highlight reels of his own performances in the UFC. Come on, bro. And just look at the side eye from the daughter. She knows that after this, what's coming next is an hour compilation of Conor McGregor's best press conference moments on YouTube. Next up, we got Kamaru Usman on his podcast disclosing that he asked the UFC to set up a title fight between himself and Islam Makhachev. In an embarrassing moment from Kamaru Usman, he continues the story to say that Hunter Campbell turned him down and then tried to set up a fight between Usman and Dricus du Plessis. And to respond to that, Usman said he only wanted meaningful fights at this stage of his career. Usman, what are you waiting for? What are you talking about? It's embarrassing enough that you're begging for an undeserved title shot at welterweight, but to duck a fight with Dricus du Plessis right after is just unbelievable. Hunter Campbell is doing his best to throw you a bone by getting you the title eliminator fight in middleweight, and you turn it down because it's not meaningful enough? Nah, man. Kamaru Usman turned that fight down because he knows he would get absolutely whooped by Dricus du Plessis and get forced into retirement. But he can't just expect to sit out and eventually get 2 title shots from nothing either. My opinion, Usman needs to get back in the cage ASAP before Hunter stops texting him back about title fights and starts offering him the Bilal Muhammad fight instead. Finally, we got Terence Bud Crawford on Joe Rogan's podcast talking about low fighter pay in the UFC. Crawford says, "These combat sports, it's got to come from the fighters, just like boxing. I think if the fighters come together, they can make anything happen. The fighters don't understand the level of power that they carry because they think that they're cutting the check. They've got the power, but they can't cut checks without us," referring to the promotion. But it's the fighters that need the money that makes it hard, because the fighters that already got the money, they can make a stand for something. But the fighters that don't, they're like, well, you can do that, but I've got to provide for my family. You can take a chance of going at the organization for a year or however long, but who's going to pay my bills? I think that's where the seesaw effect happens with boxing and UFC. Great comment from Terence Crawford, very insightful. And this goes to say a lot because Terence Crawford is the 3rd fighter to come out against the UFC's shady business practices in just a week. Hopefully this snowball effect continues. fighter pay is raised, and Dana White goes broke and homeless in the near future. Anyways, that's going to do it for today. Like, comment, subscribe, Fight Zone MMA. I'll see you in the next one.